AI and robots, they want you to forget. Now, I realized after I completed this whole presentation that I already did this video almost word for word, and I'll show you where I did it. It was on a video that I made called "The Future Was Delayed. What Happened to the Robots in Advanced Tech?" And that is essentially, I'm just going to do the same video again because I spent a lot of time making this PowerPoint. So you're going to relive the glory of "The Future Was Delayed. What Happened to the Robots in the Advanced Tech?" And I got to do it again to remind you that we are living in the past. We are living with delayed technology. What you're seeing right now that's being offered is old, phased in stuff. What exists is so farther advanced than these scheduled releases that we're experiencing. So, we'll just go through the PowerPoint. We see here, I'm the bot. So right here, these are the robots of the mid to early 80s, not 90s, not 2000s. Do we even have home robots besides the Roomba? Look at how many there were of the Omnibots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 robots just from Tomy, from one company. They had 8 robots to offer, 8 models. All we have is the Roomba in present day. And maybe a couple other things, but you never hear about them. And you know, as I look at this title here, they want you to forget. And watch what I put for the beginning of this intro here. They cancel the future. All right, AI plus robots, they want you to forget. And now I'm a major threat because I remind you of the things you were made to forget. These were sent down the memory hole. The memory hole is where they make stuff go away. And they've made a lot of this technology go away. The memory hole. It's like I'm reading my own mind of where I'm going with this. The memory hole. The robots and AI that I remember have fallen down the memory hole and were replaced with fractions of what they once were. And what they give us now is machine learning, data mining, message board bots. Yawn. As a child of the 80s, I loved the future that robots and AI had to offer. A life of leisure was promised, with robots and AI being our servants. And all that came to an end when Terminator 2 came out. Now, often when I talk about this free time that we were promised, people say, "Oh, no, you were imagining that," or "that those conversations never happened. You have bad memories." "Oh, no, nobody ever said that." "Oh, you were believing in fake tech." No, I just showed you I'm the bot and all that. That was all real in the 80s. There's video of it, and there's a bunch of other stuff in that video I made, and I'm going to show you in this video. Epcot in the early 80s, Disney in the early 80s, all this stuff is 40 years old. 40 years old, and we don't even have it in 2019. You got the Roomba, and that's it. And you got Siri, Ray Kurzweil's Ramona AI bot. The bot has been removed from the internet, and only the AI avatar remains. So what I mean is, if you try to find Ramona the AI bot, it's actually been removed. Take a look. Here's the page. Page not found. Every other page on Kurzweil AI is there, except his own AI bot page. Page not found, error 404. This was the page for the Ramona AI bot, and I think it's linked in this old article from 2011. Completely gone. And then it tells the whole story of when Ray put on the 3D bodysuit and was able to mimic in real time, which was revolutionary at the time, the Ramona AI avatar. And you can see it there in the bottom quadrant, the top right quadrant. And then there's this article on the virtual Ramona project. So they're trying to get you to forget about the AI bot Ramona and only remember the live VR Ramona. And I'm not blaming Kurzweil. My guess would be that the makers of Siri, Cortana, Alexa, Iris, they were nowhere near what Ray had I remember it in 2002. Ramona was light years beyond Siri, Alexa, and all of them. And it was really cool. If you asked Ramona a question, you could see the mind mapping of all the different subject categories that Ramona's mind would go to when you would ask Ramona a question. I mean, it would break out into all these different associative topics. It was really neat. So how do we know some celebrities aren't like Simone? So okay, let me point this out. This movie Simone was loosely based on Ray Kurzweil and Ramona. So you got Al Pacino playing Kurzweil and Simone being Ramona. And then later on, 2 movies came out. I have The Congress here, but also there was a movie with Johnny Depp, Transcendence Man, I think it was called Transcendence. Now, Ray Kurzweil had a film called Transcendence Man. Johnny Depp was in Transcendence. Now, Transcendence and The Congress came out, I think, in the same year. And a common thing that happened in both films is Robin Wright and Johnny Depp both read like 150,000 words in so that they could create any words out of that. And in The Congress, Robin Wright is fully photographed from there's like a gazillion cameras and they get a full 3D. There's like even cameras underneath her. And so they're able to create like a full virtual digital replica of her. And we're able to produce fake films that she wouldn't agree to be in once they photographed her. They literally like owned everything but her soul. So that was fascinating when you partner it with Transcendence, the fact that they both had the same tech. And then you wonder, like, how does The Rock get into so many movies? So the takeaways from this slide that I want you to have is what happened to the Ramona AI bot. See if you can find it. If you can't, post a link. Let me know, because I want to experience Ramona again. Maybe my memories are a little off on Ramona. Maybe I'm glorifying Ramona, but what Ray had with Ramona in 2002, add 17 years onto it, Ramona could be so lifelike at this point. All right, so to challenge what I was just saying about Ramona, I found this one article by Dale Innes, and he was knocking Ramona for just being kind of like a Eliza hack. He says it's a primitive, nearly stateless AIML-based semantic-free sub-Eliza hack. There might actually be something clever behind it, but alas, it was not to be. And that's how I remember Ramona looking. And here goes the chat. I read it. It was pretty much kind of like talking to Eliza. So he has but maybe he was using the first version of Ramona. I don't know. And I don't know why this is in 2009. He could have at least talked about how Ramona is more advanced than Eliza, because you could see how Ramona was thinking, but it's like the only article I found on it. I did find this CHATBOTS.com lists Ramona 2.0, shows the 2001 early date. So then I thought, oh, wow, maybe there's a link to Ramona so I could prove it. I come here, I'm thinking, oh, look at this. Kurzweil AI, Ramona 2. So while that one's loading, let's see where this link goes to. Page not found. So Ramona's still loading on Kurzweil AI. So back to this article. So I thought, all right, well, let's click Ramona 2.0. Where does that go? Goes to the Virtual Ramona project. So it's like, oh, hey, we're getting somewhere. About Virtual Ramona. Tell us about it. There's the link, Ramona Chatterbot Online. This is straight from Kurzweil AI's website. Click on it. Opens up, and it goes to nothing. Page 404, not found. All right, the takeaways from this slide is the Ramona AI bot first and foremost. If you know where it's at, let me know in the comments. I want to see Ramona, because the Ramona I remember was from 2002. It was phenomenal. Add 17 years of development, Ramona will be almost lifelike. And the technology we have now, which isn't that much more than we had in 2002, but it's more, really would make Ramona amazing. So I'd like to see that. Also, the Congress with Robin Wright, and Robin Wright plays Robin Wright in the film, which is really strange. And Transcendence with Johnny Depp versus Transcendence Man. And then Simone, and Ramona. And Ray Kurzweil. Just know that distinction. You should see that film too, because it's been like 10 plus years. Plus, Andrew Nicole is the director of that. Andrew Niccol also made The Truman Show, Gattaca, and I think In Time. All those are important films. The Time Machine Library. Now, there's a reason I have this right after the Ramona slide, because when I saw The Time Machine, when Guy Pearce asks Orlando Jones a query on time travel, the way Orlando Jones's avatar character, notice it's an avatar much like Ramona, the mind mapping, the way it works, if you watch that scene again, it goes to like time travel, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, and then causality and mathematical theorems and a bunch of other superposition, multi-dimensions. You saw how the query broke down into a bunch of other topics. So Time Machine Library, that scene was significant. And I remember it at the time I'm like, oh man, this is the Ramona thing. So rewatch this scene and pay attention to the tech, the way it's demonstrated. This was a demonstration, a demo. It wasn't just there to be cute. It was a demo of the tech that existed at the time. And I think this came out around 2002, 2001, Time Machine. Eliza. When I was in third grade in the 80s, mid-80s, I worked on Eliza. The problem I had was I was in third grade, so I wasn't that good at typing yet. People, it was kind of like my first full-time interaction with a computer. I remembered thinking, if only I knew how to type, and if only I had the time and patience to sit down here and program enough into Eliza, because we learned how to press Control-C, and then we could see the entire code of Eliza. I guess it was open source, before open source. And you could see how it was written. And in third grade, we actually understood it was written in BASIC, and we were able to understand how the program worked, the subroutines, the variables, and the way, like, Eliza would propose a question, and then there was like if-then else's on how to respond to the question. It didn't have full like verbal linguistics built in, so it could only respond with predefined answers based on your input. But if you put enough answers in and enough if-then else's, enough else statements, you could pull it off. You could pull off the Turing test. So now what I want to drive home is I used Eliza in the 80s. If you look on the right, the story of Eliza, the first chatbot developed in 1966. 1966, they made the first chatbot. You think Siri is the tip of the iceberg for technology? You think Cortana is cutting edge? 1966, they developed Eliza. And that's when they revealed it to the public. Do you remember Jarvis from the movie Iron Man, Tony Stark's intelligent assistant who manages Stark's house and also plays his close friend? Well, who wouldn't love to have an assistant like Jarvis? The great news is we have already embarked on a journey where we have our own virtual assistants. Yeah, virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa and Cortana. But it's way beyond that. Because again, you have Siri and Cortana. Think about Watson. Now, Watson's not a virtual assistant. But that's the answer. Think about Watson. Always compare to what they tell you, what they want you to look at, and then what you've seen. Because with my eyes in the 80s, I saw Eliza. I touched the keyboard to program Eliza. AI winter my rear end. AI disappearing often gets blamed on the AI winter. My belief of the periods of AI winter is the AI research objective was achieved and then brought dark. So they work hard, they get the funding, they achieve the goal, and then make it vanish. Send it down the memory hole. Mission accomplished, and then gone. Now, you could read here, I'm not going to read it, but you could read the official version of why these AI winters periodically would occur. But I think the AI, and they say it's from budget cutbacks. For real, budget cutbacks on AI. If we didn't develop AI first, another country would. Why am I mad? I'm still working. I'm still a full-time employee. I did not develop skills for work because in the 80s, I thought, what's the point? Robots are going to translate languages for me. Robots are going to do all the labor. It's the robots and the AI were going to do everything. It wasn't a pipe dream. It was visible. Moore's law. They kept saying everything doubles every year. The CPUs were getting faster and faster. Everything was doubling every year. And then it stopped. Brief history of AI. The first AI winter, 1974 to 1980. Limited computer power. Sure. Cray machines. The end of funding. Critiques from across campus. I'm not buying it. So my belief is they achieved their AI and then spent the rest of the time making movies and books scaring us about it, making us not want it. It wasn't even like I wanted the AI. It was coming soon, and parts of it were already here. Robots in the 80s, in your home. And then Terminator 2 came out. When T2 came out, that was like the end of robots for like 15 years until iRobot and Attack of the Clones came out. And there was another AI winter when HAL came out, 2001 Space Odyssey, that scared people. And then we had recently Ex Machina come out, which was like an update of the Turing test. So you see some of these concepts in films like Ex Machina and other robotics films, other sci-fi films, you could see the concepts are so far more advanced than what we get to experience as consumers in 2019. And outside of the iPhone, outside of high-speed internet, and outside of the Xbox, there really hasn't been much innovation outside of those. Well, there has been, but what's been offered and available. Think about it, airplanes haven't evolved in 40 years. It's the same airplanes. And the only thing they've evolved is charging you for bags. All right, this right here, Automata, single-handedly blew me away. This robot in the top right and these robots here, these were made in the 18th century. Now, the 18th century is the 1700s. They made these robots before there was electricity. Check out the CBS Sunday Morning, The Lost Art of Automatons, Alive Again. See the film Hugo. Go to the www.thehouseofautomata.com. This is the Turkish chess player. These robots are so intricate the way they work, and they actually work. They do functions. They're like made by clockmakers. They're windups. But they were able to do this before electric. It's a lost art. It's like a wonder of the world how they did it. So I think we need to figure out how they did. And this is what I remember from the 80s. I remember animatronics, everybody's Christmas displays. They had like robots on their front lawn. Have you seen any robots on anybody's front lawn in the last 20 years? Christmas time, you'd always have somebody that would have robots. They'd have robots on their front lawn. We had robots in the 80s. We had robots in the 1980s, and we don't have any robots outside of Roomba in present day. They keep showing you all these like sex robots. Ada Lovelace, supposedly the writer of the first program. She knew Charles Babbage. I was concerned that not enough was written about her, but since I made this slide, I realized a bunch of people that are into science, computing, and women of history, they do know who Ada Lovelace is, and many people have made tribute videos. But just in case you don't know who Ada Lovelace is, Ada Lovelace, everybody, look up Ada Lovelace. She wrote computer programming before we had computers. That's incredible. Why? The only thing I say is like, why is she not celebrated in the great women of history? Why? That's a conspiracy. When I was a kid, I remember we had programs called Lovelace, and we'd see things always signed Lovelace. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized, like, wow, okay, Ada Lovelace was a real person. She was a female in a time before females had like all the rights. Why is she not celebrated along with Joan of Arc and others, Sojourner Truth and Betsy Ross and whatnot? So Ada Lovelace, while she's not American, maybe that's why, I don't know. Maybe she's not part of our heritage, but from like the feminist angle or great females that contributed much, Ada Lovelace. So I'm doing my part. I'm passing it forward. Ada Lovelace. Alan Turing, John von Neumann. So Alan Turing is considered the father of AI. Let's take a look at the dates that he lived. 1912. 1912. He was born before the Federal Reserve. Died in 1954. Died in 1954. And this guy is the father of AI. And you think the best they have is Siri? John von Neumann, 1903 to 1957. Look up the books. I think he created game theory and a bunch of other math books. And of course, the Philadelphia Experiment and the Montauk Project, if you're into the whole Al Bielek thing. But look these guys up and realize, look at these dates. So you see these dates and then you think about what they tell you in present day about AI, that it's coming soon, that it's in the far future, one day humans will be able to do this. No, man, these guys were before the 60s. Before the 60s. So use your mind. Look at what they tell you and then look at what you see. Now, Alan Turing and von Neumann, they haven't really, well, Turing has not been buried. Von Neumann has kind of been buried. Alan Turing, there's a movie about him. It's the Cumberbatch plays him in the film. It's like the numbers game or the something game. The Jetsons, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers. The Jetsons actually came out before. I saw the Jetsons as a kid all the time, but it was even produced before my time. I was watching reruns, and the Jetsons. So I got to say any more? The Jetsons. Look, they had Rosie. They had a robot. I had a robot in the 80s when I was a kid, when I was Elroy, his boy Elroy, when I was Elroy's age. I had a robot. Don't have a robot now, though. I can't even go to the store and buy a robot other than a floor sweeper. What happened to the robots? What happened to the robots? What happened to Omnibot? What happened to the flying car? George Jetson's driving the flying car. What happened to Johnny Five? Let's see if that's the next slide. NASA robotics arms. Now, I'm half trolling here, but I'm also saying, hey, if you believe in outer space, you could see that they have robotic arms in outer space. They had robots when there were moonwalkers and space shuttles. We don't even have space shuttles anymore. Metropolis. You ever see Metropolis? You should watch Metropolis. It was like a silent film. And it inspired C-3PO. Oh, C-3PO, R2-D2. Growing up in the 80s with Star Wars, it came out in the 70s. But it had its real heyday in the 80s. We had C-3PO and we had R2-D2. Granted, those are guys in costumes, but again, the robots are there. Look, C-3PO was physical. It wasn't even CGI. They had the ability to create C-3PO and R2-D2. Even though they're fake, Omnibot wasn't fake. But there it is, Metropolis, C-3PO. 80s films. There were robots in all the 80s films. So my teachers were conditioning us to accept robots, live with the robots, look forward to the robots, love the robots. And you have all these films reinforcing it. The top left is from Space Camp. This one's Batteries Not Included. Bottom left is Flight of the Navigator. On the right, you got Johnny Five from Short Circuit, which later was remade into Chappie. 80s robots. Take a look. Of all the nostalgia market, there hasn't been any re-release of the robots or any throwbacks. They bring back Star Wars toys, G.I. Joe toys, He-Man toys. How about Omnibot? Why no Omnibot? Why no throwback? Where the robots at? Where the home robots at? And just look at the right here. Look at all these iconic robot heads. Voltron. All these. Mega Man. R2. Iron Man. So it existed almost 40 years ago. And we don't have robots now. Atari was out. When we had these robots, we had Atari and ColecoVision and Intellivision. This was before Nintendo, right before Nintendo, because when Nintendo came out, ROB the robot came with Nintendo. Now, from Atari You remember playing how bad Pac-Man looked on Atari? From Asteroids? From Atari to present day Xbox One, or if you're a PC gamer, I don't even know the size of the video cards now. The video games advanced, although they kind of topped off around the Xbox 360. The video games advanced, but the robots didn't. At least that's what they show us in real life. They scare us about the robots because they don't want us to have the robots, because if you have robots and you have AI, you then have free time. You then have leisure. You're then able to go about your life on your own quest and your own journey. You're not easily controlled if you have free time. The naughtiest, coolest thing to get is free time. I want free time. I'm on this quest for free time. I will create videos and stuff with my free time, but I hate it's basically it's almost mandatory employment, near mandatory, because you have to pay bills. I want you to know that technology has existed for at least 40 years, and if you go back to the Alan Turing, at least 80 years, and it's all been suppressed. Everything has been invented, just not implemented. Demand the tech. Where's my robots? Where's my AI? Where's my free time? The teachers used to say, you kids are the luckiest generation. You'll be the first kids that won't have to work. And it wasn't naive of me for believing them, because I saw Omnibot and I saw the way technology was going. Terminator 2 came out, bam, that put an end to it. And so earlier I had mentioned the resurrection of AI and robots, and that's when iRobot with Will Smith came out and Attack of the Clones came out. Now, both of these films had a scene where there was a gigantic factory of robots being built under everybody's nose, not one or two, but like hundreds of thousands of robots, all created, all ready to go take over the world. Now, that's that evil part of the robots, taking us out and all that fear-based stuff. But if they had the Isaac Asimov rules programmed in, hopefully we'd be fine. But the idea that they were showing was the robots exist. You just went asleep. I didn't go asleep. And also Kevin Warwick at the time, I think there might be a slide of Warwick, but he warned, he's like, look, this is in 2005, I heard him on Coast to Coast AM. See if you could find the episode. He's like, look, these robots are coming and you can't stop them because there's too much money that's going to be involved, too much profit. Oh, see how my mind works? Kevin Warwick. Just like I said, in 2005 on Coast to Coast, he said there were factories filled with robots. So see if you could find that episode, Kevin Warwick, Coast to Coast 2005, listen to it. He's the author of iCyborg, which, iRobot, between him and Asimov. He surgically implanted his body onto the internet, had somebody across the ocean control his fingers to demonstrate that we are electrochemical robots, us as human beings. Look at that bottom left. That was the scene in Attack of the Clones, and then the scene in iRobot, right next to each other. Factories of Jango Fett's. And look at Kevin Warwick's robot hand. Chatbots, roly-poly AOL chatbots. So if you used AOL Instant Messenger, you'll remember Smarter Child. It was a AI chatbot that you could talk to and actually have a conversation with. For me, it wasn't really that satisfying because I knew it was just AI responding to my input. So it kind of was like me talking to myself. But Smarter Child exists in the days of AOL Instant Messenger. AOL Instant Messenger predates MySpace. This AOL chat, the AOL Instant Messenger was the social network before social networks. So if you could remember AOL Instant Messenger, look, we had the chatbots back then. But it's like 15 years later, why are the chatbots not even as good as the AOL chatbot was? But I do point to 2007 as the year we lost a lot of tech. So look at this, the demise. Microsoft acquired the company, which became Colloquius in 2007. 2007 was kind of like the death of tech. That was when the iPhone came out. and the iPhone is like the only thing that's innovated. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? The Galaxy has innovated too. Cell phones are like the only thing that have improved over the past 10 years. And just them. What I'm going to show you here was amazing. This is another thing that made me think I'd have a robot in a more advanced robot in my house any day now. When I got Windows 95. Windows 95 was a big innovation. Huge. Windows 95 changed the game. It came built in, if you had Microsoft Network, which was MSN, it was the competitor to AOL and CompuServe and Prodigy. If you had MSN Comic Chat, whatever you typed in, based on your structure of your sentence, the punctuation you used, and how it related to the rest of the conversation, it would automatically generate comic book characters in a film strip based on the conversation you were having. And it was incredible how the characters behaved based on what you were saying, no matter what you said. I remember being there for hours one night, just seeing all the different things I could create with that chat. And this is what happened to this. Why do we not have, and I think this is something tangible, because I think everything else you might be like, well, whatever. This is a tangible thing. Look, MSN Comic Chat 96. This was amazing, and we don't have this anymore. Why would this amazing technology go away? So look up MSN Comic Chat, see if you can find a download of it, but then again, who are you going to talk to? Why is this gone? Why is the MSN Comic Chat gone? This thing was phenomenal. Neural networks. Neural networks. What happened to neural networks? Now, neural networks, there's a lot to it, but one of the concepts I learned was of associative memory. That how every memory you have is based on a previous memory. So like if you remove one memory, it would throw off your whole entire thing. It's just a cool thought. What happened to neural networks? They used to be around. I don't have much I remember of them now. I remember I saw an interview with the guy that conceived the concept of neural networks, and I guess he actually did get defunded, so part of that defunding is kind of true. But why would this be abandoned? Epcot Disney robots. All right, Epcot in the 80s had robots all over the place. They only did like minimal functions, but they were amazing looking. Look at how good these robots look. Way better than some of the stuff we have now. And how come why did the innovation stop in 1980 with these robots? Go to Epcot. Next time you're at Epcot on the Spaceship Earth ride, count how many robots are there. Count the movements. If you took all the movements and combined them into one robot, you'd have like a fully functional robot. They were giving you a glimpse of what could be. And this is 40 years ago, at least. What happened to the robots? We're in 2019. Next year's 2020. BattleBots 99. I was pretty excited when I saw BattleBots 99. It was either a commercial for it or like competed with the Super Bowl. It was the Rams Titans Super Bowl. Super Bowl 34. It was the one when Mike Dyson got tackled by Mike Jones. He was like 1 foot away from the goal line. So they have this show where it's robots beat each other up. BattleBots 99. 1999. Well, it says here first episode was 2000. Fine. 19 years ago we had BattleBots. Where's the robots? The monorail. Why do we not have high-speed people movers? And I'm not advocating for these over air flight, but the monorail was pretty amazing when I was a kid. Why is there only the monorail and people mover? Like at the Atlanta airport, it takes you on a shuttle from one terminal to the other. Look at this. It's like magnets. What happened? What happened to the innovation of transportation? We don't even have driverless cars, really. Cars are still running on gasoline. Cars are still running on gasoline. What the heck? All right, just in case you didn't think much of Omnibot, here is a Simo, a human-like robot created by Honda in 2000. It was created in 2000. I think this is that robot. You remember seeing him lift up? He was like a furniture mover. Why is ASIMO no longer in operation? Why is it part of the history? Why is it in a museum? Why is ASIMO in a museum and not moving furniture? All you see is Boston Dynamics, and they show. So take a look at these robots that Boston Dynamics has. They don't look good. They always look like a prototype. It always looks like it's coming soon, like it's in development. So you see those robots here. This is what they show you now. This is Boston Dynamics. And then you go back, look at ASIMO. He looks all put together. You go back to Epcot and Disney. Look at those robots. They're fully put together. Why are the Boston Dynamics robots never fully completed? It's like to subconsciously make you think that it's not done yet. Exit Reality, Second Life, Enter the Matrix. These were all groundbreaking things. Now, I think Second Life is still out there, but you never hear about it anymore. Enter the Matrix was turned off. Exit Reality was a 3D browser. I did a video on it. I found out the story about Exit Reality, but I just want to promote Exit Reality and the idea that Exit Reality I used in like 2006, 2007. Here we are in 2019. There's not a single 3D browser. How is there no 3D browsers? Like, why? What happened to innovation? What? I remember using Exit Reality. I was like, all right, it's not perfect, but just imagine what it's going to be like 3 years from now or 5 years from now. Well, here we are, 12 years from then. I don't even have Exit Reality anymore. It's not even like innovation didn't happen. It was taken away. That's the biggest point, is we had these things and we no longer have them. There is no 3D browser. You can't download Exit Reality anymore. You can't get the MSN chatbot anymore, or the comic chat. You can't play Enter the Matrix anymore. You can still go on Second Life, though, so that's good. Google Glass, space glasses. What the heck happened to the wearable glasses? Google Glass is no longer. Space glasses are no longer. The thing in the top right, though, that's the latest hope. It's called Focals, and Amazon owns a piece of it. But look at that picture of the girl with the glasses on doing the augmented reality. That's years old. I remember seeing this stuff in like 2013, and here we are 6 years later. There's no wearable glasses. These things happen, and then they go away. They vanish into the memory hole. Nobody talks about it. So I'm talking about it to give you permission to talk about it. All right, this is another troll one, but hey, the 1997 Mars landing. You mean to tell me they could land that thing on Mars, which is like 30 million miles away, and it could transmit pictures back to Earth, and we don't have robots on Earth? We got more robots on other planets than we do on Earth. Come on, man. Think about it. Now, obviously, Mars is somewhere in Devon Island, Canada. But at the minimum, demand the robots. All right, a thing I recommend people to do is go back and look at old sci-fi movies and video games. So Tom Clancy's Net Force was like about the cutting edge of internet technology. And The Ripper was unintentionally about some cutting edge technology. So look those up, and then look at other sci-fi films and ask, like, do we have this tech yet? Because you'll see it demonstrated in the film, a prototype, a concept. Why would you put your idea into a sci-fi film if you didn't already create it so that someone else can steal your idea? See what I'm saying? So if you've seen it in a movie, chances are it's real, because who would just give their ideas away for free unless you're me? All right, so you got an AI timeline. There we got Alan Turing at the beginning, AI in 55, Unimate. First industrial robot goes to work replacing humans at GM. Okay? So the robots were replacing humans at GM in 1961. Then you got 64. You got Eliza, like we talked about. You got Shaky. The AI Winter. Deep Blue. Oh, man, I forgot all about Deep Blue. Deep Blue in 97 beat the Chess Master. 97, right? That's 22 years ago. Kismet. Emotionally Intelligent in 98. Abo, remember the dog, the robot dogs. Roomba, Siri, Watson, Eugene, Alexa, Tay, AlphaGo. And here we are in 2019. All right, the exoskeleton. I remember that I met this guy in 2005, and he showed me this advertisement that he got from Japan, and it was to buy one of these exoskeletons, much like you saw in the film Avatar. And look, hey, so giant robot exoskeletons are totally a real thing? Are totally a real thing now? Now, this is showing January 2017, but they were selling one of these for $250,000 in Japan. Now, this guy, he had connections to Japan, and he said, he's like, hey, man, can you get a loan for one of these? He goes, you want to go halves on this? You want to, you get a loan, I get a loan, we buy one of these? And I go, what the hell are we going to do with it? And how am I going to pay back the $250,000? He goes, dude, if we buy this now, we could go invade some small islands and rob everybody and use the money to pay off the loan. He goes, but then again, if you have this thing, if anybody comes to collect on the loan, just show up in the exoskeleton. He's like, who's gonna try to collect on you if you got one of these things? And that was in 2005. Then they were telling you they're real in 2017. Oh, look, it even mentions Avatar. Oh, yeah, and in Matrix Revolutions. So it's probably good that people don't have these things, especially I'm glad that that guy didn't have it because he wanted to buy this on credit and then go conquer people to pay off the loan. But then he thought, why would I even pay the loan when I have this thing? I could just keep conquering. And it's the evil that men do. It's people like him is the reason why I don't have nice things, because we can't trust people with the technology. You could trust me. I don't want to take over anybody. I just want my free time. That's all I want. I just want free time. So the exoskeleton's real. I also remember seeing an advertisement for a guy that was trying to raise $200,000 to manufacture flying saucers. Now, this wasn't this wasn't a thing in consumer magazines. This was in a trade publication in like the metals industry that only people in the industry see. So it wasn't a retail mag. This was like a business to business thing. And he was talking about, and this was like 90, maybe 2001 at the latest. So there was guys trying to make flying saucers back then. They said they knew how to do it. So just remember that has existed. Google Earth came out in 2001. Google Earth came out in 2001. It's amazing. Google Earth is absolutely amazing. But if they let us have Google Earth, imagine what they have. So the goal of this is I want you to say, where's the tech? I want you to look skeptically at the technology you have now, and at the tech that's coming soon, say, come on now, wait a minute. And then look back at the stuff you had in the 80s if you were alive. Look at the beginning of the century, because it seems like the day that the innovation stopped was 2007. Once 2007 hit, everything was brought to a halt. 2007, 2008. Once that hit, that was it. Everything got slowed down at that point. That's when you started getting, remember it was like Pentium 3, Pentium 4, and then they just became letters. The i5, the i7. And they haven't changed much in like 10 years. All right. Now, I do know there are a lot of robots. They're just industrial robots, not the ones we're looking for. So if you were going to comment about how there's tons of robots, I know. I remember hearing a stat back in 2006 that there were more robots than Costa Ricans. So the population of Costa Rica in 2017 was 4.9 million. Now, as I look up the robots here, it says between 2018 and 2021, it is estimated that almost 2.1 million new robots, industrial robots, will be installed in factories around the world. How many robots are in the world in 2017? See, notice they don't want to lie, but they don't want to tell you the truth. So notice how these are all phrased. The International Federation of Robots expects new installations of industrial robots to reach 200,000 units in 2014 and grow 12% annually. but they're telling you about the growth rate. They're telling you about how many new robots are going to be added. Notice they don't tell you how many robots exist. So how many robots existed in 2012? The International Federation of Robotics said that there were at least 1.15 million operational industrial robots by the end of 2011, expected to increase by 36% to 1.58 million by the end of 2015. Okay, so I take that back. They did say, oh, look at this one. Can't even get a straight answer. This one's from 2010. So notice these are older from 2012, and they're showing lower numbers. World robot population reaches 8.6 million. IEEE Spectrum. IEEE's got some good info. So in 2010, there are 8.6 million robots in the world, or more than one. So yeah, that stat that I heard about more robots than Costa Ricans looks like it's true, according to the IEEE. 8.6 million robots, 4.9 million Costa Ricans. More robots than Costa Ricans. But I don't see them. Where are the robots? There's like entire robot countries. Or maybe they're walking amongst us. Maybe the robots created human. Who knows? Sorry guys, my throat hurts. But thanks for going along with this. Demand the technology. Everything's been invented, not implemented. Where's my tech? Demand your free time. Or at least demand it for me. I want my free time. We are supposed to live a life of leisure at this point. In 1984, the book by George Orwell, which was written in 1948, he said that the technology exists now, the machines exist now, so that no man should ever have to toil. But instead of freeing and liberating mankind, it will create an inflation on productivity, and man will keep working, doing, just wasting time, occupying via occupations. So, let's get liberated. Let's get the tech. Release it all. And let's live happily ever after and go about our missions in life. See you in the next video.